to this episode of Workspace Spark TV. We are sparking your careers. And today we have a special guest with us, Gia Ganesh. Gia is a career and employee engagement strategist devoted to helping professionals lead and feel engaged at work. As a career and leadership coach, she has worked with numerous professionals, guiding them through the pursuit of meaningful careers. That is so important. The word meaningful is so important. As a speaker, she has led employee engagement related sessions at corporate women's groups as well. Gia is also the mom of 2 cuddle bears, and a chocoholic, yes, and a calligrapher. How cool is that? So welcome, Gia. I'm so glad that you joined us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Dorethia. I'm super thrilled to be here on another engaging session.
Yes, thank you so much. So I want to start off. I told a little bit of your story, but I'd like for you to share your career journey with us. Tell us, how did you get started and how did you grow in your career?
Absolutely. So mine is one of those careers that does not follow the traditional path. So I went to school for electronics engineering, and that's what I got my degree in. And fast forward to today. Today, I am the people and culture director at a tech company, right? So you can see that already there's a significant jump. And let me take you through that, right? So I started there and I did my undergrad in India. That's where I was born and raised growing up. And that's where I got my electronics engineering degree. And coming right out of that, I got into software development.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for a few years before I migrated here to the US. I got a degree in Masters in Information Systems and then went on to take on various roles in the engineering world. Basically, I started as a QA person, then I went on to become a business analyst, went on to project management, and that's when I jumped ship again and did my MBA. And coming out of my MBA from Georgia Tech here in Atlanta, I landed a gig as a management consultant at a management consulting firm. And that's when things really started to make sense for me. And I realized that the world that I wanted to live in was the world where I was helping people as opposed to helping systems and processes, which I had done in the previous part of my life. So from there, I moved heavily into the people world and graduated through a few roles. And today I'm here in a tech company, working primarily as the people and culture person.
So yes, that is quite a journey. And it is a testament for anybody out there who is kind of shifting from what they may have gone to school for, or maybe it's 5-10 years later and you found a passion for something else. This is the perfect example of how that can work. But before we go further, I just want, for people who may not know what a management consultant is, could you just explain that a little bit?
Absolutely. So a management consultant in layman's terms is a person who solves problems for others. Most often is business related problems or very specific to a certain niche, like healthcare or technology or strategy or operations. So just a consultant who goes to different clients and solves various problems for them, right? You're employed by one company, but you're working at a client side at a different company. And some of the management consulting firms, some of the popular names you might have heard are Deloitte, Bain & Co., BCG, KPMG. So those are some of the most popular names, McKinsey, right? So you'll hear some of these popular names.
And often a lot of travel involved.
Lot of travel, yes. I worked for a consulting firm that did not believe necessarily that we had to travel. So it was optional for us. And I chose, of course, not to travel ahead.
Oh, that was good. That was really good. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for that. So I want to get this right. So say the name of your company again.
My company's name is Career Ikigai.
Ikigai.
Ikigai. It's a Japanese word. Yes.
Now you got to tell us what that means and the philosophy behind it.
Absolutely. So the word Ikigai is a Japanese word and it means your reason for being. Yes. And the reason why it appealed to me and it spoke to me was because I am of the belief that people who are working should work in a place and in doing something that really is meaningful to them. We spend over
Yes.
8 to 10 hours a day working, more than
Yes.
70% of our waking hours is spent working, and it does not make sense to be in a job just for the sake of paying bills. And my mission is to help people move away from having jobs to pay the bills to having jobs that really give their life a meaning, right? And so that was the reason behind career. Ikigai is your reason for being, in terms of being a professional beyond just paying bills. And if you look up the word Ikigai, Dorothea, it's I I boil the essence down to three words, saying it's your reason for being. But if you
Mm-hmm.
actually look it up, it means much more than that. It's a combination of your purpose, your reason
Yes.
for being alive. It's what wakes you up in the morning. It's a combination of
Yes.
all those, and that's what appealed to me. I feel like all of us as professionals should be doing jobs that we love, that give our lives meaning, and that spurs us to wake up the next day and go back to work. Of course, we all
Exactly.
need money to live and to have a life, but
Yeah.
we've got to have something bigger than that that fuels us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When I met you, when we met and talked, I did look it up and I was like, I have to have her on. She's got to explain this because it does have such a profound meaning. And I agree with you 100%. You want something that's beyond just paying your bills. You want to feel fulfilled at work. So I think it's amazing. So thank you for explaining that for us. Tell me a little bit, as you moved up in your career, did you have anyone giving you advice on career strategies? Did you have any mentors? That could be two different things. There could be some people who maybe just gave you advice, and then others are mentors. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. And I don't have the best answer to that, meaning I really didn't have mentors as I
Mm-hmm.
moved through the career path
Mm-hmm.
that I had. But I would say I was also to blame for that. I really
Mm-hmm.
didn't seek out mentors. Nobody adopted me and said, hey, I want to mentor you.
Right,
uh,
right.
Nor did I seek out people. But here are some lessons learned that I think mentors would share. And now, as a coach, that I share with some of my coaches, right? The main thing is to be able to speak up and ask for what you want. It took me quite a few years of my professional life to understand and to realize that my voice matters and that I can
Mm-hmm.
actually use it to get things not just for myself but for other people as well, right? What first strategy or first tip that a mentor could have given me would be to speak up. The second
Yes.
thing is to believe in yourself. I know this sounds so cliche to say this, but most of us, especially quite a few women that I've worked with, I noticed that whatever said and done, there's an aspect of self-confidence and that impacts us. The amount of confidence we feel in ourselves and the fact that we undermine it brings us down.
Yes.
And in the past, I'm not saying I'm an expert at it now, but I can remember the beginning of my career. You could ask me, what have you accomplished this year? And I would have nothing to tell you because I always undermined myself. And I would say,
Yes.
I did what I'm getting paid for.
Yes.
There's nothing I need to talk about, or I've not done anything above and beyond. And it took me a long time to realize that every small thing that I did, which I did not classify as going above and beyond, made a difference to the team, added value to the company.
Yes.
And so I had to shift that lens and realize that, um, you know, the problem was stemming from myself. It was my self-worth that was bringing me
Mm-hmm.
down because I was not confident in myself and what I had to offer. So the second strategy or tip that I would give people is to believe in yourself. Know that you have something to bring to the table. There's a reason they hired you. They saw something in you and they hired you.
Exactly.
And just believe that you are the person who is doing that and delivering that. So keep that in mind as you come up with strategies to move forward. And the last tip I'll give, oh, sorry, go ahead,
No,
Dorothea.
go ahead. I want to hear this last tip.
uh, and the last thing that I'm going to tell you is that we need to support each other. And I mean, when I say we, I'm very, I don't want to sound like a feminist, but I believe that we really need the support of people to
Mhm.
grow and to
Yes.
point our shortcomings. So here's the saying that I live by, which is you cannot read the label of a bottle when you're inside the bottle,
Mm, that's good.
right?
That's
So when
good.
you're inside the bottle, you cannot read the label that's on the outside. And that's exactly how we all are functioning. we have no idea how we appear to the outside world. We believe when we do something, we are appearing the way we think we are. But most often that's not the case. What people see of us is different from what we portray of us. So there's a
Yes.
disconnect there, and try to bridge that by asking feedback. And you need to have a set of people. My book, I talk about having a board, right? A personal board of
A
directors.
personal board. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I want to ask you about some, I want to touch on something you said in the beginning, and you were saying that you really didn't have anyone to mentor you. And I believe there are a lot of people in that space for the reasons you listed, right? A lot of times we're in our own little bubble, we're in our bottle, right?
Yep.
And you don't want to ask for help, because people are busy. You don't want to impose on anybody. That's one thing. The other thing is, some of us may feel like that if you ask for help, you're feeling you're weak, or
Yep.
you're not strong, or you're not capable. And that's just not true. There are different ways that you can go about getting mentorship. And the truth is, like, many of us have our role models, right? A lot of times they can be those virtual unknown mentors. If you're a person who is in a work environment where maybe you can't ask, or you're not comfortable asking, a lot of times if you follow someone who gives great advice, who has great information, they can be like your virtual mentor until you meet someone in person near you that you can meet with every month or every quarter or something like that. Because I know that a lot of people do not have mentors. A lot of people don't know how to go about asking for a mentor. We'll train on that a little bit later, but I think some of the tips that you have given are a good start. You have to ask. You have to own. You have to not own, but you have to know and be confident in your own abilities. So don't feel bad if you don't have a mentor. I know a lot of times in conversations, people do like to kind of throw out, my mentor and that. And I have been blessed to have some unofficial mentors that I was able to go to. But it's okay, because everything is at your fingertips. You can get help in your career, especially with a community like Workspace Spark with experts like Gia, so that you don't feel alone, because I think that's the key thing. It is hard when you feel like you are alone and you don't have anywhere to go to get answers as it relates to your career questions. So I think that was a really good point. So in that vein, what was some of the best career advice you ever received? Like, what was something that somebody said to you that really was an aha moment for you in your career?
I think more than somebody saying something, an action is what gave me the aha moment, which is I had a manager who one time gave me a project that I believed I could not handle, but he trusted me and said, "You know what, Gia, I believe you can do this. You run with it. I'm not checking in on this. You come to me when you need my help," right? I was taken aback by that. I was like, "Oh my God, I don't think I can handle this." But guess what? That actually made a difference for me, because his trust in my ability to get something done gave me the confidence that I myself did not have at that point, right?
Yeah.
So I think that was a aha moment. Seeing myself through somebody else's eyes
Yes.
changed it
Yes.
for me, right?
Yes. That's very good. That's very good. The fact that he had that confidence in you he knew you could get it done, even though
Exactly.
you weren't sure. That's good. That's good. That's good. So you talk a lot about tracking our successes in our career. At what point in your own career did you realize how important this was, which made you, of course, go on this path to teaching others, men and women, how to track their successes? What was that turning point for you?
I think it's been a journey. So when I was at the management consulting firm, some of my bonuses my bonus payment was dependent on the work that I finished, right? Obviously. And most often the way the bonus payment was structured was, it's not just completing your core job responsibilities, but it's about going above and beyond. And
Mm-hmm.
often when we had to do a self review for ourselves every 6 months, I found myself struggling, Dorothea. I had
Yeah.
nothing to write. They would be like, they would ask all these questions, and I'm like, you know what? I didn't do anything. I just did my job. I never did anything above and beyond, right? And then that's when I slowly started having separate folders. When I would get a kudos email from a manager or from a colleague, I would slowly start storing them in a separate folder. So
That's a
that's
good
when I guess
idea.
the basic idea was formed in my head that, hey, we need to know if somebody is acknowledging us for something that we did. I need to remember, and I have a terrible memory. I cannot for the life of me remember
Mm-hmm.
things.
Mm-hmm.
So for people like me, it's best to track. So that was a simple system I had at that point in time. But when this idea really became business was when I was working with a lot of clients, and especially women. I'm sorry if I'm specifically speaking about women clients, but that's the world I've come
That's
from.
okay. That's okay.
Yeah, I noticed that some of the women had the same issues that I had gone through, which is
Mm-hmm.
we would talk about, hey, let's look at your resume. You're looking to change jobs. Let's look at your resume. Talk me through what you've done so far. And they would have some standard bullets that they had gotten from somewhere, but it would not really speak to what value they can add to an organization, right? And on
Um,
deeper, when I would probe them, okay, tell me on this project, what difference did you make? How did you make a difference? They had nothing to say, and I don't blame them because, well, guess what? You did the project 2 years ago. Maybe you forgot. Maybe
yeah.
you did. Maybe you had the same kind of issues that people like me have had in the past, which is I don't believe in myself or my self-worth. I've diminished my accomplishments myself, right? And
Right.
women have a tendency to do that. So that's when I started telling my clients to track it, and I gave them a format in which to track. It's not just track it randomly. It's like not just what you did today, but it's about how you move the needle in 6 key areas. And that's when the idea of the daily career journal was formed. The whole idea
Mm-hmm.
of daily career journal is to empower professionals to track how they are moving the needle in their career in 6 key areas.
Yes.
And
So,
that's
so
been
I
go
don't
ahead.
mean to cut you off, but I want to show everybody. You're mentioning the daily career journal, so let's just show this is actually how I found Gia. I was looking for a career planner, and there aren't. I think this is the only one, to be honest. There aren't any out there, so I hope everybody can see this pretty well. This is the women's version, and then Gia, do you have the men's version?
I do. So I have this
So,
here.
so when I found this, and I reached out to Gia and then began to hear more of her story, I was like, okay, I have to have this product and I need to interview you for my audience because this would have helped me a lot. Think about your annual reviews. Think about when you're supposed to, it's goal time or annual review time, and you're supposed to share what you accomplished so you can get a raise or promotion or bonus. And you've got to go back through a million emails, or you've got to go back through thinking about what you did. It's very hard to do that at the end of the year. And this will help you so much. I absolutely love it. I absolutely do. There are many pages in here. We'll circle back on this in a few minutes because I want Gia to just share a little bit about how to use it. But it is amazing. And when I saw it, I said, this is what everybody needs. They need to track their career. They need to track the bonus. You know how you, like you said, you get the kudos at work. I even track if somebody if somebody just comes by and tells me I did a great job and
Yep.
says, really, I appreciate you helping me on that project, or I appreciate your team's help. Thank you for facilitating whatever. I write that down, what the project was and all that kind of thing. So when review time comes, because here's the thing, nobody, and I need everybody to understand and hear me when I say this, nobody is going to toot the horn for you like yourself. I don't care
Absolutely.
how much your boss loves you. I don't care if you have a mentor or a sponsor. Nobody is going to be able to articulate what you really brought to the table except for you. So you need to track it in something like this and keep it all in one place as you, and it's large enough to where you could track it as you move through your career. So it's really a very good tool and resource. So that I wanted to make sure that we talked about that and that you shared a little bit about how it came about. So you created this career tracker, you created the form, and then what kind of feedback did you get on it as people began to use it?
Absolutely. So um, when I created it, I had them tracking on Google spreadsheets, right? Just the easiest way, and then we could share it as
Yes.
well. And they found it super. I mean, they were like, "Oh my God, this is such a simple idea. Why haven't we done it?" Because no mentor has told you that in the past.
Yes.
Uh, Everybody has said toot your horn, but they've not given you a step-by-step process in how to toot your horn.
The how. That's right.
That's the whole purpose. We created this journal, and this has become a tool that enables you to toot your horn. The way you said it, Dorethia, is perfect, right? The feedback has been great, Dorethia. If to some people it feels like a lot, some people who feel like, oh my God, you're making me do this every day. And that's what I want to remind people. If you don't have all of us commit to doing exercise every day or something, but there are days we slip, and it's okay. It's totally okay. If you didn't do it, if you didn't have anything to track today, that's fine. Just come back whenever you're ready and start tracking. That's why we have a date field, right? You can totally write down the date and
Absolutely.
establish your process again.
Absolutely. So you've seen a lot. You are a career coach. You've worked with a lot of people. What do you think is the number one mistake men and women make as they're navigating their careers?
So at least I'll split it into early phase career people and mid professionals, right?
Okay.
In the early phase, what I've seen a lot, Dorethia, is people are not sure what career they should be getting into. They're not clear. They don't have that knowledge or clarity. They're like, I think I want to do this. I'm not sure. And here's the here's the hard answer to that. It's okay if you don't know. Don't wait for clarity to precede action. My message to people is action can lead to clarity. Right?
Yes.
You don't have to have it figured out before you take the first step.
Yes.
Take the first step. Maybe that's when the path will become clear to you, right?
I love that. Action will lead to clarity. That's right.
Yep.
That's
Clarity
right.
does not precede action. Okay. So my advice to those people are sometimes, just getting into a job that you kind of have a liking towards is okay, because once you get there, you may have a better understanding of what is it that you like, or like me, you may have become very clear on this is not the path for me, and you can eliminate it out of the equation, right?
Yeah.
The more you can eliminate out, the road gets narrower and clearer. Your destination becomes clearer. So sometimes it's okay to move forward with what you have. And the way I look at where I have arrived at in my career, Dorethia, is taking those baby steps towards the right step, right? Towards the right destination, right? Instead of some people are lucky that they know they're in 10th grade, they know they've decided they want to be this, they got it. But most of us are not like that. Most of us take time to figure it out and take baby steps, move away from something, move towards something, and keep doing that until you arrive at your destination. So that's one piece of advice I have for young career professionals. For mid-career professionals, oh, sorry, what was your question? Your question was?
The question was, and you answered it for the early stage career people, but the question was, what is the biggest mistake you see men and women make in their careers?
Yes. And for mid-career professionals, I would say that there's a time in the mid-career professional's life, one of the biggest problems I've seen is this whole concept of fulfillment.
Yes.
That seems to matter, or that seems to come to the forefront a lot more in your mid-career.
It does.
When you've done a lot of things, you've reached certain,
milestones
as defined by society or yourself.
Yeah.
And then you realize you're not fulfilled. You're like, I want to do more. I want something more. I want meaning in my career, but I don't know how to get that, right? Yeah. So that's a hard one as well. There's no easy answer to all these questions, because these are things that we have to it's a process. It takes
It's a
time to
process.
unfold.
Yes, yes.
And that's where I would suggest working with mentors and coaches, because they ask you those clarifying questions that open up certain windows of opportunity that you may not have considered yourself. So for
Yes.
mid-career professionals, I strongly encourage you to talk to coaches, to talk to mentors, to diversify your networks, and to have that personal board of directors in place by the time you get there, because those are the people that are going to help you get to that fulfillment piece in your career, because they're going to open those doors for you, or they're going to give you the kind of advice that you may not get from reading books, which
Yeah.
may be more helpful for early stage folks.
Yes, yes, because at that point in your career, you've experienced some things, you've seen some things, and maybe you are in a position financially where you can shift, and money may not be your biggest concern. When you're first starting your career, you're trying to make money, especially if you have student loans, that kind of thing. But as you accomplish a few things, experience different jobs, you are able to maybe make a shift into something that is more fulfilling. So I agree with you 100% there. It's it can be a challenge though, because you do fight with title. I mean, just to be practical, once you've reached a certain place in your career, titles and money matter. But like I said, if you've set yourself up in such a way financially to where you can kind of shift, and maybe you don't have to take a cut to shift. I'm not suggesting that at all, but there's a lot that you have to think about when you are in that mode of, I want a position that's more fulfilling, especially if you are changing careers completely. So
Absolutely.
that's
One thing, sorry,
Go ahead.
Dorothea, the one thing I will add is sometimes it's not about changing paths. Sometimes it's about supplementing your path. So for example, I'll take you or me, for example, we have maybe regular jobs
Yes.
that we are happy with, but we've supplemented our fulfillment with a business, right?
Yes.
So that's just something I want to highlight, so people know that it's not always one path. It's not a yay or nay to this, and then you can always add on something else in a different form.
Yes, that is an excellent point. Thank you for bringing that up. You are so right about that. We talked about the daily career planner a little bit a minute ago. I just want you to briefly tell us, there are some sections in here. So again, this is the daily career planner, but when you open it up, there are some sections, and I'll post the links to the website because Gia has a really good video on her website that shares how to use it and different things like that. It really is great. But if you could just talk through really quickly about, for instance, you've got several sections here. You've got the Q1 goals, daily wins. Tell us a little bit about the Q1 goals. We talked about daily wins a little bit already, but tell us a little bit about the Q1 goals and the importance of that. You've got Q1 goals, and then you've got weekly brags.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Dorethia.
No, I was just going to tell everybody, we're gonna post everything on, put the links that you need so you can see what we're talking about, because I don't want to hold it in front of the camera. But tell us a little bit about weekly brags and the quarterly goals.
Absolutely. So the way the planner, the way the journal is divided is, it's divided into 4 main sections. One is the goals, one is daily wins, weekly brags, and quarterly accomplishments. Okay. So it's very easy for us to progress without a goal, but most of us have some kind of a goal in our profession, whether it's set for us by the organization or whether we set it for ourselves. So that's what the first section is about, is to help you set some goals in terms of how you want to move through the 6 key areas. These are the 6 key areas that you'll see throughout the journal: work contribution, professional skills, community contribution, relationship building, brand building, and soft skills. And you can read the journal and it'll provide you examples as well as definitions of what that is. So in the daily win section, this is where you're tracking what you've done to move the needle on a daily basis on the 6 key areas. And you can see the journal and the video. But outside of that, on a daily basis, we also give you space to write down any feedback, like the one Dorethia mentioned, which is, hey, somebody appreciated her for doing a good job in setting up something. So you can put that feedback in here. We also have a section where you went above and beyond. Most of us are given a promotion when we start functioning at the next level in our career. And how
Yes.
are we want data points to say that, hey, I'm already functioning at the senior manager level, although I'm just a manager. So that section allows you that. And this is my favorite, which is the best experience section on the daily sheet. And that's where I want you to capture what is your best experience of the day. By being intentional about recognizing that, we can try to recreate that going forward. That's the reasoning behind having that. So daily wins. At the end of the week, we have weekly brags, and you'll see a little black dot indicating that it's a weekly brag section. What we ask you to do here is look at the past week, look at your daily wins in the past week, and synthesize that into 6 areas again, which is this week, what did you create? This week, what did you improve? Maybe you improve the ticketing system for your company, whatever it may be, right? This week, what did you reduce? Maybe you reduce the number of bugs. I come from a tech world, so I'm talking in terms of bugs there. This week I prevented a supplier from showing up late. This week I took consistent action, and I took consistent action in following up with all my vendors. And I let go of some communication and collaboration issues that we had. So on a weekly basis, we ask you to synthesize. Again, the idea is to distill the value that you're providing to your organization. So, and then at the end of the quarter, we ask you to look back on all your weekly brags and write down 6 accomplishments. What is your accomplishment? What is the impact it had on your organization or your team or your business? Again, this can be used for business folks as well, not just people who work in corporate careers. And the measure of success. What defines measure of success? So when you have to write that performance review, or when you have to submit that form for promotion, you're clearly able to say, this is what I achieved, this is the impact it had on the business, and this is how success was defined for that, right? So that's what this journal helps you do, is to help you and the organization or your business see how you're adding value on a daily basis, and then condense it over on a weekly and quarterly time period as well.
Absolutely. I love it. It's very detailed. It's something, and it's small enough to where you can just keep it with you. So keep it in your work bag, keep it a lot of us are working from home now, keep it on your desk so that it is handy. So as things come up at the end of the week, when you're cleaning off your desk, preparing your to-do list for the next day, you can put that as part of your routine of writing down what you've accomplished for that day. So I love it. I absolutely love it. And I know that everybody else will too. So I'm excited to get the feedback from everybody once they get theirs. So I also want to share that Gia is not only the creator of the Daily Career Journal, but Gia is also the author of Career Inc., The Business of You. So this is also a great read as well. Tell us a little bit about this, Gia, and what made you write this?
Absolutely, Dorethia. Again, I think this would specifically speak more or resonate more with early stage career professionals, because I felt like this was something I would have benefited from when I was in that stage of my life, right? And the idea behind it is, Dorethia, I'd come across so many career professionals as a part of coaching where they were expecting the organization to recognize that they are doing a good job and that they need to be promoted, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were, in my opinion, they were giving the reins of control to somebody else. And the message I want to give people out there is, you own your career, not your
Yes.
company, not your boss, not your
Yes.
manager. You own your career. You are responsible for it. So stop behaving like a renter. And that's what my tagline says. Own your career, stop renting it. Don't expect the landlord to come and fix things for you. It's
That's
your
right.
career.
That's
You need
right.
to fix it, right? So that's the
I
idea
love
behind the
it.
book.
I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that. Stop renting your career. Own it. Yes, yes, yes. So I mean, this has been wonderful. I hope you will join us again sometime in the near future and talk more. I know you have a lot of great information to share as you've been a career coach for a long time. So I appreciate you coming on and joining us. This has been wonderful. Please tell us how the viewers can and the listeners can stay connected to you, your website, social media, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. I can give. So my main website is Career Ikigai for my journals, but I also have a personal website, giaganesh.com. You can always reach me at gia@giaganesh.com, or my Career Ikigai address, which is hello@careerikigai.com.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not too active on Twitter or other social media as I used to be. I'm
Mm-hmm.
using that more for calligraphy now.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very active on LinkedIn, so people can feel
Awesome.
free to connect with me on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is perfect.
Perfect to connect, and email is always a good way to reach me. I'm pretty responsive.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. This has been wonderful. You enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to having you back soon.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Dorethia. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you to everybody who joined us today, everybody who's watching or listening. Please make sure you connect with Gia and Career Ikigai.
You got it?
Thank you. Thank you. This is another episode of Workspace Spark TV. Thank you for tuning in.